Alright, the time has finally come. It's 6 a.m. in the morning and I'm about to take a shower, so I'll be right back shortly. Okay, so today I'm going to be ranking movies that is based on TV shows, cartoons. Before we start this video, I heard Sponebob is getting a 4th movie. And we're about to get a Casa Grande movie, just like I predicted. And it's going to be a new Avatar movie. Well, ever since this garbage failed, a new Smurf movie, and a new Ninja Turtle movie this year. And I have mixed feelings of watching this or not. This movie looks bad, if I want to be honest. With a lot of new cartoon movie being announced, I thought it's a good time to do this remaster. This is top 20 best cartoon movies. Let's get started. Oh, and remember guys, it's all about my opinion. So, do not argue with me for whatever I say. Don't be in the comments down below typing, "Oh, you're so stupid, that's not the best cartoon movie." No, just shut up. Don't say anything at all, please. Thank you. Okay, let's start off with the worst cartoon movie. Kind of. The best. Number 20. Bob's Burgers movie. Well, I never seen this show, Bob's Burgers, so I don't know why I watched the movie without knowing the characters. Well, at first, the movie was boring because it's cringe, and then things gets interesting with the character development and the storyboard, and character arc is all that matters to make the movie good. Bob Burgers movie may have things going right of being cringe, but of course we're not giving the gold medal for best cartoon movie to Bob's Burgers movie. 19. Yogi Bear. Hey, I know what you guys are thinking. "Oh, this movie is terrible. How is that the best cartoon movie?" Okay, well sure, Yogi Bear may not do well with the critics, but this movie is good in their own way. I watched this movie many times as a kid. The choreography was good, character development good, and everything is nice to relive your childhood. And even though I can understand the movie critics, I still enjoyed watching Yogi Bear. 18. SpongeBob Squarepants movie, Sponge Out of Water. Well, the second SpongeBob movie is mostly about Plankton. Plankton has a redemption arc in this movie, has to team up with SpongeBob and his friend to go into the real world to get the secret formula back from the evil live-action pirate. And honestly, what I realized that cartoon character fighting a real-life pirate is ridiculous, but a fun time. Well, the time travel scene was pretty awesome, but I don't think it's enough to be the best cartoon movie from the top. Well, the SpongeBob characters becoming superheroes as a huge advantage was pretty cool. I mean, I have respect for the comic book characters. Well, Plankton redemption arc lasted when he ends up doing the same thing. Like he never learns at all. Well, in this case, I think the sequel is the worst SpongeBob movie, but at least it's in the best list. At the same time, 17, the Peanuts movie. Well, speaking of reliving your childhood, the Peanuts cartoons is one of the cartoons that I haven't seen for a while. Well, the only main problem about this movie is they don't have a villain in this movie. I mean, there's no bad guys in the film. Like, who makes a movie without adding some enemies to the story? Okay, well, sure, Snoopy imagined fighting a imaginary enemy in the whole entire film, but that doesn't count. The villain has to be enemies with all of the characters, not just Snoopy. Well, because this movie doesn't have a villain, there's a lot of drama in this film, at least. And I think this is a really inspiring story. What people can relate to? Well, if the studios decide to make a sequel, then make sure to add some real villains in this movie. And by the way, the Peanuts movie storyline was based on the episode itself, so I think that's pretty cliche. 16. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius the Movie. I never seen Jimmy Neutron, but I know what this show is about. Well, at first, the movie gets a little boring. And then things turns into a fun ride when they explored outer space and battle some aliens. And Jimmy Neutron was the first cartoon movie that has better ratings in Rotten Tomatoes, even though the audience didn't like it. With that being said, number 15, Rugrats Goes Wild, from the old school cartoon to another, little kids explore the jungle. I think this is alright for a cartoon movie, and that's all I'm going to say. This movie is a little better than Jimmy Neutron, in my opinion. 14. Alvin and a chipmunk chick wreck. Hey, don't argue with me. I know this movie is trash, and I totally agree with you guys. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the GGI of the chipmunks is pretty bad. But the third movie of Alvin is not that bad. Well, honestly, I think the chipmunks ending up in a deserted island is pretty interesting. And they have some character development for Alvin, and they have a redemption arc for Hawk. And Alvin was the first cartoon movie that has a redeemed villain. And there's less singing in this movie, which is fine because when it comes to movies like Disney, I don't want to hear any musical numbers sometimes, unless they're in a music battle. And speaking of the music battle, it's going to be Luigi versus Jeffy next month. And you guys will have to wait a little longer for Lenny versus Patrick. 13. SpongeBob Movie Sponge on the Run. The story plot the story plot about this movie is about SpongeBob and his friend Patrick tracking down Gary because Gary is missing. And I thought this plot is pretty cliche because we already saw that in the one SpongeBob episode. But I like this version of Gary Goes Missing plot. Well, the 3D animation was good, which is funny because the Peanuts movie was the first cartoon movie that did the 3D animation. And it's no coincidence that SpongeBob just copyrighted. Well, this movie has a lot of surprising cameos and a lot of backstories of how SpongeBob meets his friends. Well, tears literally almost come out of my eyes when SpongeBob friend told a touching speech to SpongeBob before he gets sacrificed and die. But SpongeBob has survived, so he was able to stick around. Well, for now. Let's be honest, guys. SpongeBob is taking Iron Man fate. Either you like it or not. And the 12th day of Christmas, I don't know the lyrics. Dora in the Lost City of Gold is number 12. I gotta say, I kind of like the movie more than the actual cartoon. The adventures was unique. The character development was decent. But the only problem that I had with this movie, it's a terrible CGI they just drew on the animals. You got Swiper the Fox. He looks like the wannabe Pikachu. What kind of live-action drawing is this? Number 11. Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel. Having cartoon characters have a crossover with comic book characters, that was insane. Right there. This is the kind of team up that I like. Cartoons and comic book heroes. Batman and Ninja Turtles did the exact same thing, and that was a excess. Even I do a crossover between my comic book characters and the Loud House. So I definitely think this movie has beaten Dora. Sorry, Dora. Number 10. Phineas and Ferb. A cross of the two dimensions. Well, the story plot was incredible, and the characters meeting theirself from another dimension is pretty interesting. And I have the best time watching this movie. Number 9. Hey Arnold The Movie from 2002. Well, like I said, it's all about my opinion. So it's not about you, and I think the jungle version was pretty bad. I'm sorry, guys. This movie is terrible to me, and I got nothing good I have to say about this movie. So we can all agree the original is better. Well, if not, then tell me your own opinion in the comments down below. And I think the story plot about saving the neighborhood and the fact that Arnold became a spy is pretty sick. So I kinda like this version better than the jungle one. Number 8. DragonBall SuperHeroes. Well, this movie is awesome. The fight scene and the final battle were insane. And I have a great experience watching this. Well, even though I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z for a while. Alright, lucky number 7. The Simpsons Movie. The story plot about the Simpsons finally becoming fugitive because of Homer's crimes is a pretty unique story, and there's some character development for Homer and Bart to have a better relationship, and the movie is funny as well, and the jokes were good. Expect that. Number 6. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Well, this is the best Ninja Turtle movie that I ever seen. There's a very good character development for Leo. He started off as a cocky leader. Well, at the end of the film, he starts taking things seriously and became better. If you guys want to watch this movie, it's on Netflix. And it looks like the Loud House is not the only one that has a movie on Netflix. Oh, well, speaking of the Loud House, number 5 is the Loud House movie. Just like Ninja Turtles, they have a good character development. The movie started off with Lincoln realizing that he is stuck under his sister's shadows, and his 10 sisters are more talented than him. Right after discovering their ancestors' hometown, Lincoln learns that his ancestor was the Duke, so he became the Duke to finally be special. Then he learns that being a Duke is a lot of responsibility. At the end of the film, they were able to stop Morag for trying to kill the new age of the Louds. And Lincoln gave the title of the Duke to Angus. And that is the best arc for a cartoon movie, and I will never forget that. Number 4, Transformers Age of Extinction. The Loud House is maybe a good movie, but the flashback scene of how Lynn and Rita met and how the kids were born, well, this needs to be cut out of the film because we already see that in the One Wild House episode. Instead, you must replace it to the flashback of how the Wild House ancestor fall. So that's how the director could have done if there were making a Wild House movie. Well, Transformers Age of Extinction was sick as heck. I mean, robot dinosaurs fighting along with the Autobots? Okay, well sure, Age of Extinction may not do well with the critics, but to me, it was the best Transformers movie that I ever watched. Besides, there's a character development for the main characters and all. So yeah, I will say that Transformers has topped the Wild House movie. 3. Kim Possible, the live action. All I'm going to say is that the action was good comparing to Transformers. And that's it. Alright, the second best cartoon movie, Space Jam, with Michael Jordan though. Well, I don't know about you guys, but the new Space Jam movie with LeBron James, it was terrible. I think the first movie is way better. Okay, don't get me wrong. Unlike the first Space Jam movie, they animated LeBron James, and they 3D animated the Looney Tunes, but not even that makes the movie good. The Warner Brothers cameos are just way too far, and Space Jam 2 may have cooler enemies, like the Goose Squad. Enemies are just too serious. The original enemies, like the Monstars, are goofier and cockier. I mean, after all, it is a cartoon movie. Agree with me or not, the first Space Jam movie is better because it's legendary. And I think Michael Jordan is a better actor. Alright, it's time for the moment of truth. Okay, the number one best cartoon movie is SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Hey, don't get me wrong. The Wild House movie may pull up a good fight. I mean, I like the movie better than SpongeBob, but I don't think the Wild House can top SpongeBob when it comes to first films. This movie is more legendary than Space Jam. I mean, the Gooby Goofer theme song rock. This is like the best scene of the movie, along with SpongeBob having a character development at the end of the film because everyone treated SpongeBob and Patrick as kids. I mean, if you guys do the math, SpongeBob was actually 18 years old in this movie. Well, SpongeBob has proof that he is more than just a kid by going in a adventure with Patrick and stopping Plankton from taking over the world. I think this is the best character development in cartoon history. Because when I watched the Teenage Bounty Hunters for the first time, I get a SpongeBob movie 2004 vibe from this show. Just because Sterling and Blair were just teenagers, that doesn't mean they can't not do anything to save the world. These characters can do so much more in this world, and this is why the series is good. Just because of Just a Kid arc, SpongeBob is the first cartoon movie that has made a lot of money off of the box office. So this is one thing what SpongeBob can, what the Wild House movie don't. Well, I said it. SpongeBob SquarePants movie is the best cartoon movie of all time, and I would like to see other cartoons that can top that movie. So, what do you guys think? Which cartoon movie, what do you think was the best? Tell me your own opinion in the comments down below. Remember, SpongeBob never dies.